Hi YouTube, this is Mike, also known as the Wizard of Odds, and the topic of this video will be the Labouchere betting system, also known as the Cancellation or the split Martingale. And before I explain that, let me say that today is the 14th of May 2020, so we are still in the house arrest / lockdown period of COVID-19, and I have been too lazy to get my hair cut or shave. So during this time I've had more free time, so I thought I would finally start to cover betting systems on my site. It's been a topic I've avoided for a long time, but I get asked about them all the time. I see a lot of YouTube videos about them. So I think that it is high time for me to explain how they work, what to expect if you use them. And this video again will be on the Labouchere. The Labouchere is, like most betting system, it either results in a small win or a huge loss depending upon what your winning goal is and how much ammunition you bring to the table. It involves writing down 10 numbers, and you cross off 2 numbers after a win and add 1 number after a loss. The thinking being that you only need to win 1/3 of the time to eventually cross off all the numbers. And it's made on even money bets, which usually have close to a 50% chance of winning, a little bit less. So if your bankroll can sustain you, you're eventually going to win. That's a big if though. So I'm going to explain how it works in just a moment. And then after that, I'm going to show you the results of some big simulations of billions and billions of sessions. And then I'm going to show you some graphical results of just 1,000 sessions at a time. And I will conclude at the end of the video giving you my personal opinion about them. But I'm going to try to give the Labouchere a fair chance. So next, I'd like to talk about how to pronounce Labouchere. Next, I want to quickly comment on how to pronounce Labouchere. Other videos on this betting system pronounce it Labouchere and Labouche, and I asked about this on my forum and I heard a number of opinions. But the people that actually speak French or have studied French seem to be in agreement that it's pronounced Labouchere, and forgive my bad French pronunciation, but I think that's pretty close, hitting that R sound at the end. And let me show you how this website here pronounces it. This is howtopronounce.com/French/Labouchere.
Labouchere. Labouchere. Labouchere.
For purposes of demonstrating the cancellation system, I will be playing Baccarat, and to keep things simple, I will only be making player bets, which pay even money. My goal is going to be to win $1,000, and I have a balance, as you can see in the lower left corner, of $10,000. So I divided my winning goal of 1,000 by 10, which is 100. So I wrote down 110 times from left to right, and the first step, every step, is to add the number on the left to the number on your right in your list. So 100 plus 100 is 200, so that's what I'm going to bet on the player. And I lost, so what I do is I add that amount that I lost to the right end of the list. So now on the left end I've got 100, on the right end I've got 200, the sum of those is 300, so that's what I'm going to bet the next hand. So here we lost again, so I'm going to add 300 to the right, and now we add the left number of 100 to the right number of 300, so I need to bet 400 on the player. So here we won. So what I do is I cross off the left number and the right number. So now the new left number is 100 and the new right number is 200. You add those up and you get 300. So that's what I bet. So I win. So I cross off one number from each end of my list. Now I add the left and the right and I get 200. So that's what I bet. I win, so I cross off the left and the right. Now the new left and the right are both 100, so I take the sum and bet that. So it's a tie, so I do nothing, I just repeat the bet. I lost, so I add 200 to the right end of my list. So now I bet 100 plus 200 is 300. I win, so I cross off the numbers on both ends. So the new left and the right numbers are each 100, so I add them together and bet that. So I win, so I cross off those numbers. I've only got 3 left, so the left and the right are each 100, so I bet 200 on the player. And I win. Now there's just one number left, 100, so that's what I bet. So I lost, so I add 100 to the right end of the list. Now I add the left and the right numbers, both 100, to get 200, so I bet that. And I lost again, so now I put 200 on the right end. So I've got 100 on the left, 200 on the right, so I bet 300 on the player. And I lost again, so now I'm going to add 300 to the right side of my list. Now I've got 100 on the left, 300 on the right, so I bet 400. And I lost again, so now I add 400 on the right. So now I've got 100 on the left, 400 on the right, so I bet 500. So here I win. So I cross off that 100 on the left and the 400 on the right. So now I've got 100 on the left and 300 on the right, so I bet 400. And I lost. So I add 400 to the right end. Now I've got 100 on the left, 400 on the right, so I bet 500. So I win, so I cross off one number from each end. Now I've only got 2 numbers left, 200 on the left, 300 on the right. The sum is 500, so that's what I bet. If I win, I will be done. And I lost, so I add 500 to the right. Now I've got 200 on the left, 500 on the right, so I bet 700. And I lost, so I add 700 on the right. Now I've got 200 on the left, 700 on the right, so I bet 900. And I lost again, so I add 900 on the right. Now I've got 200 on the left, 900 on the right, so I bet 1100. So I win, so I cross off the 200 and the 900. Now I've got 300 on the left and 700 on the right, so I bet 1,000. And I lost, so I add 1,000 on the right. Okay, now I've got 300 on the left, 1,000 on the right, so I bet 1,300. So I win. So I cross off that 300 and 1,000. Now I'm back to just 2 numbers, 500 on the left, 700 on the right. The sum is 1,200, so that's what I bet. And I lost, so I add 1,200 to the right. Now I've got 500 on the left, 1,200 on the right, so I bet 1,700. And I win. Now I've only got one number left, 700, so that's what I bet. And I win. I am done. So you can see in the lower left that my balance is 11,000. You may remember it started at 10, so I achieved my goal of winning $1,000. And you're looking at my website right now. This is my page on the Labouchere. It's where I publish the results of my simulation. But I start by explaining how to play the Labouchere, much as I did in this video. And I go through an example. And here are the simulation results. I start with the results on the player bet. The goal was always to win 10 units, and it breaks down the results according to how big your bankroll is, from 50 units to 2,500 units. So let's look at the case of bringing 100 units to the table. Your probability of reaching your 10-unit goal is 89.52%. The average number of bets you'll make is 19.565. The average number of units you'll bet is 123.859. You can expect to lose on average 1.528 units, and the ratio of money lost to money bet is 1.234%, which is the house advantage on the player bet in Baccarat, of course. That would be the case with any betting system. The more you play, the closer you get to that house advantage. And then I also do the same thing, the same simulation, but based on the pass betting craps, the don't pass betting craps, any even money bet in single zero roulette and double zero roulette. Next, let me show you some simulation results using the cancellation betting system on the player bet in Baccarat. In every simulation, the goal will be to win 10 units. And let me start out with a bankroll of 50 units. So this one that the screen is already on, you can see that it's basically kind of a jagged trip downward. When it gets down here, it comes up a little bit, but then continues to go down. So let's just run some more simulations. And by the way, each of these is 1,000 sessions played. And that orange line is where you start, and you can see that it pretty much always. Now this one here, the player was doing pretty well for a while, but when he got to around, after about the 800th session, he just went crashing down. And this one was a total disaster for the player. Let's keep doing this to try to find a situation where the player wins. Okay, here's one where the player actually survives 1,000 sessions and has a very small profit. But you can see how many times we had to run through this to see this happen. Now, what if we have a bankroll of more than 50 units, you might ask? By the way, with 50 units, the probability of a successful session is 81.47%. Now let's increase our bankroll to 100 units. This increases our probability of success up to 89.52%. And yeah, so let's run some simulations of this, waiting till we show a profit. So we still haven't shown a profit. All right. Well, here we almost show a profit. In fact, the player was, it looks like he had broken even like on the 999th session, but then he lost after that. But there we come real close to breaking even. Now what if we go up to a bankroll of 250 units, you might ask? So here it gets even more volatile. We most sessions win. In fact, to be specific, on average, 95.34% of sessions will win. But when you lose that whole 250 units. So that increases our volatility. Here's one where the player almost has a profit. Here's one where the player shows a profit after 1,000 sessions. Just barely a profit. He was way up for a while there, but yeah, like gambling, there's a lot of volatility. It's a roller coaster ride no matter what you do. Now let's increase the bankroll to 500 units and do some more simulations. Okay, here's one. So with a bankroll of 500 units, the probability of success is 97.53%. So the bigger the bankroll, the better your chance of a session win, but the more you lose when you do lose. So here's a simulation that had a winning result, but of course most of them don't. Here's another one with a winning simulation result, and another one, and this one has barely has a loss. This one has a huge loss of almost 7,000 units. So the bigger your bankroll, here's another one with a pretty big loss. Here's another one that shows a profit. In general, the bigger your bankroll is, the greater your probability of surviving 1,000 units. But when things go bad, they can go really bad. As opposed to if you have a more modest bankroll, you probably aren't going to survive 1,000 sessions, but the downside is not nearly as bad as with a big bankroll. And this is going to be true with any betting system. So let's go to 1,000 unit bankroll. Here the probability of success is 98.71%. So you can see that, again, 98.71% of sessions will win, but when you do lose, you lose 1,000 units or 100 times your winning goal. So here's one that had a winning result. But of course, most of them do not. And let's end this with a bankroll of 2,500 units. So here the probability of success is 99.45%, but when you lose, again, you lose 2,500 units or 250 times your bankroll. There's a real disaster, a loss of 20,000 units. But here's one with a gain of 5,000 units. So yeah, there's some simulations for you. To conclude this video, I'd like to say that I hope I have made the case that, like most betting systems, they usually result in a small win, but at the expense of a huge loss when you do lose. Nothing is guaranteed in gambling. No bankroll is big enough to guarantee against a possible loss. And no matter what betting system you use, the ratio of amount lost to amount bet is going to get closer to the house advantage of whatever the game and bet is that you're betting on, the more you play. That's called in statistics the law of large numbers. You just can't fool that. That house edge is going to apply all the time. Not only will betting systems not eliminate the house edge, they won't even dent it. So if you must use a betting system, please use a free one like the Labouchere, and I plan to make more videos about other betting systems as well. But absolutely never pay for one. The people that sell betting systems are quacks, they're charlatans, snake oil salesmen. They are selling a worthless product. And if you don't believe me, try asking them, if your betting system is so great, why aren't you using it yourself and making as much money as you want to, as opposed to selling it on the internet? And if they don't give you, if you're still not convinced after they try to dodge that question, if they answer it at all, just do a search on the person's name or the name of the betting system, and you will probably find plenty of people who say that it didn't work for them, they asked for a refund and didn't get it. You see that all the time. So I can't think of anything else to say. So thanks YouTube for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.